Hi everybody, welcome back to Vlogmas day number 4. Today I'm going to teach you how to do a DIY Christmas gift if you would like to make these mittens. I'm going to tell you up front, this is not a learn how to crochet tutorial, so you are going to need to already know how to do a few basic stitches to make this mitten or glove. I'm not sure if this is called a glove or a mitten. I'll tell you what gave me this idea. I have made quite a few of these over the years. I usually make them in this material. You can get this at Walmart or Michael's. I don't know about Hobby Lobby. It's called scrubby material, and I've made them for cleaning pots and pans, and this one is the one I recently made myself to replace the one I used to have. And I use this in the shower to exfoliate my face. It's a real scrubby material. You could certainly use this pattern to make one just like this. If you're not a new beginner, this would be an awesome project you could make, but this particular type of yarn is a little bit tricky. I wouldn't recommend this kind of yarn if you're a fairly new beginner to crochet. The stitches you're going to need to know how to do are, you need to know how to tie on yarn and tie it off at the end. You need to know how to make a magic circle, and you need to know how to chain and how to half double crochet. You need to know how to half double crochet and how to half double crochet 2 stitches together, which turns 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Chain, half double crochet, 2 stitches together, tie on and tie off. That's all you have to know. If you can look up how to do those stitches, or if you already know how to do those stitches, let's jump in and make some of these, okay? First thing I'm going to talk about are the materials you're going to need to make this project. I bought this yarn, which I've already used to make the one glove. It looks like this. It's a variegated color. You're going to want any yarn that you think is soft and warm if you're making a pair of mittens to keep you warm, or if you want to level it up and do something slightly more advanced, something scrubby. If you are making a pot holder, you're going to want to be sure it's something along the lines that won't transfer heat and won't burn you if it gets wet. So I've never made a pot holder. I don't know what kind of yarn you might want for that. The yarn that I got at Walmart. It's super soft. It's 100% acrylic, so it's not going to be terribly warm, but it will be a little bit warm. It's from Lion Brand's Mandala line. Ombre, I think is what they call it. What you need to look at when you're picking out your yarn is on the label. I hope this is showing up. Right there you see a picture of a skein of yarn that has a number in the middle. You want to find yarn that has a number 4. Maybe you could get away with a number 5. 3 is going to be too small, and your mitten will probably turn out too small. And I had actually made a mitten with number 6, and it turned out way huge. This is too big even for Michael, and I realized that it's wool and would catch fire too easily, and I can't use it as a pot holder, so I'm going to have to toss this one. You want yarn that says number 4 right there. It will also tell you on the skein of yarn what size crochet needle you need. This one calls for a crochet hook in size 5.5. I crochet kind of loose, so I've got myself a 4.5 and made this mitten out of 4.5. It fits me just fine. But if you've crocheted for a while, you might know yourself well enough to know, do you want to get the size crochet hook that the yarn itself calls for, or do you need to size up or size down a little bit? I sized down because my stitches are loose, and that turned out perfectly. I used a 4.5 with this yarn. Other things you're going to need, you need a pair of scissors. You'll have to make a couple cuts. A darning needle. Mine is really wide. I wouldn't recommend one this wide if you can get away with it, just to work in your loose ends. You definitely need a stitch marker, and I have, oh, here's mine. You're definitely going to want a stitch marker because we are working in the round. We're going around and around and around, and you're counting to menial numbers like 28 and 32 and 14 over and over and over again, and it's so easy to lose your place. If you lose your place, you are screwed. I never know how to find it again. If you have a paper clip, that'll work fine. Just be really careful because they can get snagged on your yarn and rip your yarn open. And then, of course, your hook. I have a pad of paper and an ink pen that I use when I'm keeping up with my rows so that I don't lose count. That'll be everything you need to jump in, and let's get started. Let's make this project. All right, I took the label off the yarn, found the end that was sticking out. First thing we're going to do is make a magic circle. That will be wrapping your yarn around 2 fingers and crossing it back over like an X. Take your crochet hook, stick it underneath the loop around your fingers, and grab that loose piece of yarn and pull it through. That makes a little loop around your needle. Don't let go of this loop that you have in the center. Pull that up like this. Hold on to the extra yarn and snug it down, and then chain 1. I'm gonna do that one more time just in case anybody wants to see. Take the short end of your yarn, hold it in your fingers, wrap the yarn around 2 fingers, and then wrap it across in an X. Take your needle, go under the yarn between going around your fingers, and grab that loose yarn, pull it through. Now you've got a loop around your fingers and a loop around the hook. Hang on to this loop, don't let it go anywhere. Snug it down to your needle and then chain 1. And that makes a magic loop. You can take this loop, pull on the tail, the short end, and eventually tighten the loop up. What we're going to do is 10 half double crochets in this loop. A half double crochet is yarn over, put it through the loop, pull it through once, yarn over, and pull it through all 3 loops on your hook. We're going to do 10 of those. That was 1. Yarn over, go through the loop and pull up, yarn over, pull through all 3 on your hook. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to snug it down here just a little bit. 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we have 10 half double crochets on our magic loop. And if you grab this short tail right here and pull it carefully, you will snug shut the magic loop. And now you have the beginnings of your mitten. We are starting from the top. We're starting from the part that goes around your middle finger and working our way down the mitten. So that was round 1. We are working in the round, so we're not going to fasten this off. We're just going to move right on to round 2. Round 2 will be 2 half double crochets in every stitch. Tell you what, I'm going to start right off the bat marking my place because I tend to lose count. Whoop. I'm going to stick my stitch marker in that last stitch that I just made. I highly recommend this because I get lost when I'm counting repeatedly. We're going to do 2 half double crochets in every stitch around, and since we did 10 stitches total, this will be a total of 20 half double crochets by the time that we're done. Count backwards, make sure I get started in the right loop. Right there. 2 half double crochets in the same first stitch. And then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. 2 half double crochets in the third stitch. Alright, I know y'all don't want to hear my voice count all the way around. 20 half double crochets all the way around. Alright, and this is what it should look like when you've done 2 half double crochets in each stitch all the way around. Kind of looks like a little medallion. What we're going to do now is increase it just a little bit more so that it will cover all of our fingers, the fingertips, and then we'll start working down the glove. So for row number 3, we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the third stitch, 1 in the fourth stitch, all the way around. So we will go 2 stitches in this first stitch, 1, 2, move on to the next stitch and just do 1, 2 half double crochets in the next stitch, 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and so on. 2 half doubles, 1 half double, 2 half doubles, 1 half double, all the way around for a total of 30. Alright, this is what it should look like at the end of round 3, and you should have 30 stitches going around in the shape of a medallion. It's pretty flat, and I can see when I put it up against my fingers that it's going to cover the tips of all my fingers. So now that you have 30 stitches all the way around, for rows 4 through 16, we are just going to do 1 stitch all the way around. This is where the stitch marker comes in pretty necessary because we're going to be counting to 30 for each of those rows, and I tend to lose my place when it's something repetitive like counting to 30. So put your stitch marker right here on the first stitch of your round, and we're going to do 30 around. It will start turning from the medallion shape we have now into more of a tube as it begins to cover the length of our fingers. So rows 4 through 16. I've got a pad of paper right here. I'm going to keep my tally marks so I don't lose track of where I'm at. Rows 4 through 16 will just be 1/2 double crochet in every stitch around. 30 stitches each row. That was the end of round 4, so I'm just going to write that down. 1 row down, many more to go. All right, I just finished round 5, and you should have the beginnings of like a little bit of a bowl. A bowl here, as you can see, we've started working on the tube that will cover our fingers. This is a good time for you to decide which side you like better. If you'll notice, one side is a bit more like fuzzy and furry, and the other side, the stitches look a little bit cleaner and more precise. You can make your own decision here. Just be sure that when you make the second glove, you make the same decision if you want them to match. But I would prefer this slightly fuzzier side to be the side that's touching my fingers, and the side with the more precise stitches to be the outside, which means my project, my bowl, is currently inside out. That's fine, you can flip it at any point in time that you want to, but I would prefer to go ahead and flip it now. It does get a little bit more difficult to turn it right side out the further along you go. So I'm just going to take my whole mitten and turn it this way, flip it the inside out, and then you will keep stitching in the same direction that you were already stitching. It's going to be easier to flip it at this point. I'm also going to take this short little tail sticking out of the middle, looks like a little jellyfish, hold my project with a couple fingers securely, and then pull on this really tight, and that will cinch up the hole in the middle from where we got started. That's what made it a magic circle, because we were able to tighten that hole up. All right, that was round 5. I've got to go all the way through round 16. Let's do that now. 1/2 double crochet in each and every stitch all the way around. All right, if you have finished rows 4 through 16, your project should look something like this. And if you slide your fingers in it, it should fit you just like a mitten. So at this point, we are going to work on the very next row, which is going to begin the hole for where our thumb goes. Make sure it fits you. If you need to make it a little bit longer, you may want to add an extra row or two if your fingers aren't completely covered. But I like where mine are at, they're completely covered, and we're gonna move on to the next row, okay? Oh, and while we're at it, now would be a great time to pull this tight one more time, this extra piece hanging through. Make sure that you've got your magic circle completely closed, and then take your scissors very carefully and cut that off. I'm actually going to turn mine inside out, and instead of cutting it off, I'm going to weave mine in. I think it would be fine if you cut it off. I usually do, but because I'm making this as a gift, I want to be sure it's going to be snug. Take your yarn needle and run it through a few of these stitches in the very beginning. Pull it out. I didn't do this for the bath scrubby that I made, and I've had no problems with it, and I've used it quite a lot, but since it's a gift, let me just go ahead and run that through. Snip that off. Okay, turn it back. Make sure you turn it back right side out. And we're going to move on to the next row. Again, if it doesn't completely cover your fingers, now is the time for you to add a row 17 or a row 18 on, just to make sure it's long enough for you. But mine is perfect at 16 rows. So for row 17, row number next, if you've made yours longer, we are going to start the thumb hole. First thing we're going to do is 1/2 double crochet in the very next stitch. This starts the row. Then we're going to chain 6. We're just going to chain 6 stitches up in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will make the part that wraps around our thumb. Then looking back at your project, we're going to skip over 2 stitches. And then we're going to 1/2 double crochet in the 3rd stitch. Pull it all the way through all those loops on your hook. That made a little hole right there for your thumb. And then we're going to crochet all the way back around to your stitch marker. 2, 3, 1/2 double crochets all the way back around. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. The last one is 27. Okay, perfect. You should have a total of 28 1/2 double crochets, counting that first one that you made. 28 1/2 double crochets on this row plus your chain 6 space. That will wrap up row 17. All right, the next 3 rounds are going to be exactly the same. We are going to do a total of 34 1/2 double crochets all the way around. So you have 28 stitches now, 28 1/2 double crochets, and you also have 6 in this chain 6 space. So what we're going to do is put a 1/2 double crochet in this first stitch. Oop, gotta pull up some more yarn. 1/2 double crochet in the first stitch, 6 1/2 double crochets in the next stitch, in the chain 6 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've now made this chain 6 space part of the row. And then we're going to 1/2 double crochet in each and every stitch all the way back around to the stitch marker. That should be a total of 34. Oops. Pick my yarn back up I just lost there. And then 1/2 double crochet all the way back around to the stitch marker for a total of 34 stitches. All right, I just ended row 18 and I'm going to use this opportunity to try it on and see, yep, it fits me. My thumb is coming out of the hole at a very comfortable angle. If it's too tight, you want to stop here and pull this row that you just made back out and add an extra row or 2 to the original 16 rows that or the 4 through 16 that we did here. You don't want to cut off circulation to your thumb, but for me, this is fitting me perfectly. I have pretty large hands for a girl, so I think this will probably fit most people, most adults anyway. So that was row 18. We are going to do row 19 and row 20 exactly the same way. There are 34 stitches around and we're going to put 1/2 double crochet in each and every stitch. That will cover the back side of our thumbs. All right, that was rows 18 through 20. And as you can see, my glove is fitting me like this. If you want it to be a little bit longer, you may want to add a couple more rows here. I was thinking about it, but I'm actually going to start decreasing it to fit my wrist because I have such a thin wrist. But if you want to cover your thumb a little bit more, I would advise adding maybe one more row of half double crochet all the way around. But we're going to pick up with my pattern that I already know will fit me. And this next row, we're going to shrink it and decrease it a little bit so that it will go from where it currently is, accommodating the width of my hand, to being a little bit closer to the size of my wrist. In this row, we're going to half double crochet for 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to half double crochet 2 stitches together, which is going to turn 2 stitches into 1 stitch. I'll talk you through that. You're going to yarn over, put your needle through that first stitch and pull up a loop, and then you're going to go directly into the next stitch and pull up another loop. Now you should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. That has turned 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Then we're going to half double crochet 15 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, there's our 15 half double crochets. Now we're going to half double crochet 2 together again. Yarn over, insert through that next stitch and pull through. Insert through the very next stitch and pull through. That leaves 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4. Then we're going to half double crochet all the way to the end, which is, I think, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep, looking like it's 7, 8, last one, 9. Awesome. That was row 21. Now it should be a little bit shrinking here at the top. I think you have 32 stitches in this row, so what we're going to do for the next row, which I 20, 21, 22, row 22, we're going to half double crochet in every stitch all the way around. That should be 32 stitches. All right, this next row is going to be another row of decreasing so that it will fit our wrists a little bit better. We're going to half double crochet in 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then we're going to do a half double crochet 2 together. Insert and pull up a loop, go straight to the next stitch, insert and pull up a loop, and then pull through all of the loops on your hook. We're going to do this all the way around. 2 half double crochets, 1, 2, and then a half double crochet 2 together. We're turning every 4 stitches into 3 stitches. When we get all the way around, we'll have a total of 24 stitches in this round. Half double crochet 2, 1, 2, and then half double crochet 2 together. Pull up some more yarn here. All right, half double crochet 2, 1, 2, and then half double crochet 2 stitches together. Half double crochet 2, 1, 2, and then half double crochet 2 together. This row is going to decrease the circumference of your glove by quite a lot. So if you're worried about it fitting over your wrist, this should be where we take care of that. All right, that's the end of our row. If you want to try it on now, I feel like this is a good time. Oh yeah, it's getting really nice and snug to my wrist, and I really like that, but I have plenty of room to move my hands around. This is great. All right, for the next 24, 25, 26, for the next 5 rows, we are just gonna half double crochet once in every stitch all the way around. And I think there's 24 stitches in each row, so we're just gonna do 24 stitches around for rows 24 through 28. That'll be a total of 5 rows. All right, I just finished row 24, and I just wanted to say, if you want to slide it on your hand, if it's still too big for you at the wrist, like for me, I think this is perfect, and I'm gonna stop here. But if it's still too big around for you at the wrist and you want it a little bit snugger, at this point, I would just suggest throwing in a random half double crochet 2 together, maybe 1 time every row, or maybe there's 24 stitches, maybe do a half double crochet first and then do 11 stitches and then do another half double crochet to kind of tighten it a little bit on each end. Just remember, these being gloves, you're going to want to be able to slide them on and off pretty easily. So I wouldn't shrink it too much more unless your wrists are just even super, super tiny. I'm going to leave mine at 24 stitches all the way around. But every time you do a half double crochet 2 together, you're going to shrink it by the size of 1 stitch. So if you feel like you need to tighten it just a little bit more, you can go right ahead. That would be fine to do that in this next row. All right, I just finished row number 28, and I'm gonna try this on and make sure it's what I want. Oh yeah, that to me is perfect. If you want it longer, just add a few more extra rows. I think for me though, this is exactly where I'm gonna stop. That was row number 28. So what I'm going to do, let's get my needle back in this yarn. Okay, I'm gonna tie off here. What I would do is cut yourself a pretty long tail here. I tie off by taking the loop that's still on my needle, sticking it through the next stitch and grabbing the yarn, pulling it up, and then pulling it through the loop, leaving the loop here. Stick my fingers through it, grab that tail, pull it through, and then pull it tight to make a knot. But just for some extra security, I am gonna sew this tail in. So thread it through my darning needle, pop this project inside out, and then just take it and weave it through any old random stitches anywhere. Doesn't really matter. Pull it through about 3 times. You can do more if you feel like you need it, but for me, go up, go down, just randomly sew it through some random stitches. Pull it snug but not too tight because you don't want to pucker or wrinkle your project, and then snip it off. Now we have an almost completed glove. We still got to make the thumb hole though. Let me pull out some extra yarn, and I'll go ahead and tell you right now, the thumb is the hardest part of this whole project. It's not awful, but it's a little rough. We're gonna have to tie on. So get your yarn around your needle. I'll show you how I do mine. There are way easier ways of doing it than this. I wrap it around my fingers twice, not like an X like we did when we did our magic circle, but I just wrap it around 2 times, pull the back loop over the front loop, and then pull the new back loop, which was the front loop, all the way off. Stick my needle through that hole, grab the tail, grab the other end, and pull it tight. A simple knot will do just fine. That's just how I was taught to thread my needle a long time ago, and how I've always done it. Get your yarn secured to your needle. All right, we've got to start a row that we can build a thumb hole off of. So what we're going to do is take this needle, your crochet hook, insert it anywhere in this entire thumb hole that you want to. I'm gonna actually stick it through some of the stitches, But you'll notice this whole thumb hole does not actually have stitches. So this is what I meant when I said this is the hardest part. We're going to have to eyeball some stitches where there are none, and that won't be too bad. Just follow along. Stick your needle into the thumb hole any place you can. Oops, I said I was going to use the stitch. All right, we're going to pull up a stitch right here. Now go ahead and yarn over and pull up and pull all the way through to secure your yarn. We need to half double crochet 14 times around this thumb hole, as close to evenly spread around as you can. So I'm going to kind of divide it in half this way if I can, and just guesstimate about where I can put 7 evenly spread stitches around the loop of the thumb hole. It's not really an exact science here. You can't really mess up. If you were to put all of them in one place, it would be pulling on your thumb on the other side. But we're going to yarn over and just stick our needle in. That's 1, kind of move approximately how far away another stitch will be. 2, 3. As I'm going, I'm actually crocheting over this tail to secure it so I don't have to weave that in later. 4. 5. Ooh, we got to make a stitch here. Just sort of stick it in about where you think stitch number 5 would be. 5. 6. 7. Okay, ooh, I'm on the back side now where there are absolutely no stitches. I'm just gonna have to eyeball 7 more. I'll go ahead and cut this tail off now just to make my life that much easier. All right, just stab your needle in there anywhere you can. 9, 13, 14. All right, I'm gonna go back and just count that and make sure I got 14 since I was talking part of the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ooh, it looks like I lied. I only did 13. Let me count. Let me just stab 1 more stitch right there. All right, and mark that one, that very last one, with your stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, perfect. Now you've made the first row of your thumb hole, 14 stitches around. That we're going to call row 1. We're going to do 5 more rows, just around and around, half double crochets in every stitch. There'll be 14 stitches per row for rows 2 through 6. I know it's tight and it can be a little hard getting your needle in and out, going around in a circle this small. But we're going to get through it together. You've got through the worst part already. If you had your 14 stitches laid down, you've gotten through the worst of it. Now we just crochet around and around and around. We're almost done. We have officially made a thumb hole. And I'm going to try it on and make sure mine's long enough. I do have 1 or 2 rows left. Oh yeah, so how much thumb I have sticking out? That's about 1 more row. So what we're going to do for row 7, if you have a lot of thumb sticking out, go ahead and put another row or 2 on, because I don't want to cut off the circulation to the tip of your thumb. But for me, it's perfect there, stopping with the 6 rows. Yep, 6 rows. So what I'm going to do for the next row, row 7, is I'm going to half double crochet 2 together all the way around. So you're going to be turning every 2 stitches into 1 stitch, and we'll have rows of 14 will be turned into 1 row of 7. So yarn over, pull up, stick it in the next loop and pull up. There's 1. You may want to go ahead and flip the project between every stitch because this gets tight quick. Half double crochet 2 together. That's 2 stitches. another half double crochet 2 together, 3, another half double crochet 2 together, that's 4, another half double crochet 2 together, 5, half double crochet 2 together, 6, undo my stitch marker, and we are the last one, half double crochet 2 together. All right, there we go. You should have a very small hole now for your thumb. So cut yourself off a long tail. And this is how, like I said, I like to tie my yarn off. Go into that next stitch, pull the yarn through, pull it through the loop of my hook and pull up a big loop. Take my fingers through the big loop and pull the tail through. Pull a knot gently, not too tight or it will pucker. Then we're going to thread our darning needle. What I like to do to sew this hole closed, because right now you've got a thumb is going to be sticking through. I like to take the thumb and smash it as flat as I can so that the hole, which I'm going to make it, it reminds me of lips. We're going to purse these lips really tight together, okay? Take your darning needle and just sew back and forth these two, this crack, this lips, if you will. We're going to sew it shut, okay? I'm going to go directly behind where my knot is and pick up that loop behind it and go straight through to the back side. Pull this yarn through. Try to get my knot to be consumed a little bit as well. And then move over to the next stitch right beside it. Come back through to the front. Go to the next stitch right here beside it. You can kind of see I've picked up a stitch and then gone through to the back side and picked up that stitch as well. And then last, let's see if I can just pick up something here in this kind of back corner here. Yeah, pull it through. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want to square off the thumb. And then I'm going to find a new random hole. To do this the best way, I'm going to go ahead and stick my thumb in. Find a hole and just stick the darning needle inside. Pull it through. And I'm going to try to turn this thumb inside out as much as I can. Oh, good. That wasn't too hard. And then I'm going to do exactly what I did when we finished off the hand part. I'm just going to zip it through a few random stitches, back and forth. It doesn't matter which stitches, you can't really get this wrong. Try not to poke through to the front side or you'll be able to see your stitch. But other than that, just pick up a few random threads here and there. 1, 2, my darning needle is so wide. 3. I'm actually going to do a few more because I want to hide this tail a little bit better that I have showing here. So just zigzag back and forth a few times. Pull it tight, but don't pull it so tight you get puckering anywhere. You don't want to do that. All right, I think that's good enough. Pull it and then snip it. Turn it back right side out. Ta-da! There you go. That's your finished mitten. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed making this mitten with me. I'm going to go stitch the other one up really quick off camera. This took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes to make one mitten, so I gotta work up the other one real quick so I can get a thumbnail and show you that I made 2. I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you're making these for Christmas gifts, I'd love for you to leave a comment down below and tell me how you like this pattern and what you made, who you made them for, and how they turned out. Hope you enjoyed this Vlogmas DIY Christmas gift video, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Vlogmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. See you soon.